Good morning. Happy Veterans Day. I was supposed to read the fire marshal's instructions, but I don't have them. So to try to be compliant, that's the way out. We will start with the color guard presenting the colors. We will then go on to an opening prayer. We will ask everyone to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and then the national anthem will be sung by Jim Cody. And salute. Order arms.
Be with us always, with leaders to bring peace to our family and nation. We thank all our veterans and families for their service during conflict, war, and peace times. We ask you to remember and be honored who lost their lives for the freedom we cherish today. We ask you for your love to heal the men and women who've been mentally or physically affected. We ask you to bless the city of sin, love and peace, and God bless the United States of America. Amen.
I ask you to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're up now.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, yet through the night
please retire your, please. She knows, I told her ahead of time, I just don't remember what the command was. Please be seated. I'm not the guest speaker, I'm the MC, the Master of Ceremonies, Jim Batchelor, past state commander of the DFW. And I just wanted to have a couple little things to say today. Like, the year after World War I, Woodrow Wilson proclaimed Armistice Day, which was to celebrate the end of World War I. And the end of World War I was ended due to a signing of the treaty, the armistice, and that was on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. Some people think it's the 11th year, but it isn't. It's 1918. And that celebration was for all the citizens of the United States at 11 o'clock on November 11th to have a moment of silence. And I'm wondering what we're going to do here as a community, not as a committee or anything else, but as a community to observe the end of World War I in 4 years, when it will have been 100 years ago. So that's my little bit of questions and comments at this time. And I would like to ask the high school band to play their selection. I'd like to introduce the people who are sitting behind me, and we're very happy to have some of our representatives from Washington. Today we have Congressman Mike Michaud, and from Senator King's office, his representative is Bonita Poitier. From the state delegation, we have Anne Marie Mastracchio. And Representative Bill Newton. We We have a new seat in the House, and we have the Representative-elect Karen Garish from District 20. We appreciate having you here. We appreciate your support of the veterans, which is true about everybody behind us. From the city of Sanford, we have Mayor Thomas Cody. We have Deputy Mayor Mara Hurley. Council members Joe Hensley, Fred Smith, Diane Conley, the ceremonies that are put on in the city of Sanford are put on by the city of Sanford through the Sanford Veteran Memorial Committee. The chairman of that committee is Carl Huntley. The vice chairman from the VVA is Jim Davis. He couldn't make it today. The secretary, Charlotte Garan. And the treasurer, George Canellis. And George is the commander of the state DAV, so he had to be somewhere else. Anybody else in the audience that's a member of the Sanford Veteran Memorial Committee, please stand up. The committee is made up out of the organizations, and the organizations representing today with AMVETS, representing the local Post 3 is actually the AMVETS State Commander, David Connor, and the Vice President of the President of the Ladies Auxiliary, Shirley Gerard, the DAV, Richard Brunel, who's the commander of the post and also what, junior vice, state, senior vice? First vice in the state of Maine, DAV. For the Marine Corps League, if you're down at Dunkin' Donuts in the morning, you know him, Phil Cabana. If you go up the cemetery and see someone volunteering, it's probably Phil. The Rolling Thunder, the President, Tim DaCosta. The Vice President, stranger in town, Ray Parent. For the VFW, Commander Joe Grant. For the Ladies Auxiliary, the President, Stacy Houseman. For the Men's Auxiliary, the President, Michael Grenier. The VVA, the President, Joe Armstrong. For the American Legion, Ray Fortier. And for the Ladies Auxiliary, Gloria Calatera. And for the Patriot Riders, the President, Phil Darren. And Brad Hoffman. Anybody who's a member of one of those organizations that's in the audience, please stand up. Thank you very much. We will now have the Naval Junior ROTC drill team perform.
Right, left, forward, march, left. pair, march. Platoon, halt. Column of files from the right. Clear fast. March. Left, right, left, left, left. March, one half right, right. March, one half left, march. Platoon, halt. Concentrate to the left. One half left, one half right. Forward, march. Left, right, left, left.
was that when Dwight Eisenhower was president, he thought that the World War II veterans also should be recognized. So he changed Armistice Day to Veterans Day. And that's why we're here today, for all the veterans that served in World War II, World War I, the Revolutionary War, and that just came home last night. So, and so that's why we still like to remember the 11th hour, the 11th day of the 11th month. I'd like to introduce some people who come up and speak. And the first one I'd like to introduce is Congressman Michael Michaud. And I don't know how many of you really follow what's being done, but the VA just changed the health care, and you're going to learn about it. It's choice. If you live more than 40 miles from a VA health care facility, you'll be able to get your health care taken care of by the VA locally. And we are lucky that we have the Saco Clinic and we have the Summersworth Clinic, which are closed. But Congressman Michaud has been working on rural health care for several years on the committee that he represents the veterans. And he's not a veteran, but he's done a great job for us. And I want to thank you for introducing him with a great round of applause.
Thank you very much, Jim, for that very kind and very generous introduction. It's an honor to be with all of you here today. For generations after generations, brave men and women have answered the call to serve our nation. Veterans Day is an opportunity for us to honor that service. It's a time for us to reflect on what we can do every day, not just on Veterans Day, and to thank our veterans and their families for their incredible sacrifice. And we must never ever forget that the family members also sacrifice quite a bit as well. Serving Maine's veterans has been one of the highest honors of my time as a member of Congress. I was very fortunate to be on the Veterans Affairs Committee since day one. And my experience with our veterans has meant a world to me. From presenting service medals, to visiting our local veterans organizations, to meeting with service members as they return home from serving overseas. These are experiences that I will always carry with me. Veterans Day is also a perfect time to remember that we should be working for our veterans every single day of the year, not just on days like today. Veterans are an important part of our community. They are our firefighters, our police officers, our medics, our teachers, our friends and neighbors. In working together with the veteran service organizations here in the state of Maine, I'm proud of the accomplishments that we've been able to accomplish for our veterans here in the state of Maine. We've made it easier for healthcare access closer to home with projects like ARCH Project, with the 2 brand new community-based outpatient clinics here in the state of Maine. The state-of-the-art facilities that also takes into consideration the demographics of our changing veterans population of female veterans as well. We've passed laws creating more support for caregivers of our veterans because the sacrifice of service is one that is shared by family members and loved ones as well. And working together, we made it easier for our aging veterans to get affordable, reliable health care at the state veterans home we have here in the state of Maine. We've secured additional resources to tackle veterans' homelessness. And we've also strengthened the GI Bill, making it easier for veterans to gain access to critical training and educational opportunities. We did all this by working together with the veteran service organizations here in the state of Maine and all around the country. And that's what it's all about. Veterans, when they sign up, or soldiers, individuals, they sign up to be soldiers and ultimately veterans. They did not sign up to be Republicans, Democrats, or independents. They signed up to serve this great nation of ours, to fight for our freedoms here at home and abroad. And with the Veteran Service Organizations, what they have continued to do over a number of years, together they have helped work together to ensure that we continue to support our veterans, not just on Veterans Day, but each and every day. So in closing, I want to thank all of you here for coming today to say thank you for our veterans, but also remind you that it's not just a one-day event, it's every day. And when you leave here today, I also would ask you to think about the brave men and women who are continuing serving this great nation of ours overseas. They are not home yet. And I'd ask you to keep them in your thoughts and your prayers and ask for a speedy return home. So once again, happy Veterans Day, and thank all the veterans here for your service to this great nation of ours. It's because of you that we are the country that we are today. Thank you, and may God bless each and every one of you. May God bless the United States.
Also, we have a representative from Senator King's office, and I met her at a cemetery meeting up here at the Springdale Veterans Cemetery. And we had a question on how we perform the ceremonies when we bury our veterans. She went back to the office and she got in touch with a couple other people and did a lot of research, and we got an answer. And I want to thank her for that, because we got an answer. We might not agree with it, but we did get an answer. But we do have also an avenue that we may want to make changes. So I know that she's done things for the veterans here already through the Senator's office. And her name is Bonita Potier.
Good morning, and thank you for allowing me the honor of participating in this memorial service on behalf of the Senator. He was not able to be here this morning. However, he asked me to read his remarks. Dear friends, it was at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in the year 1918 that members of the Allied forces and Central Powers laid down their arms, an event recognized as the end of the First World War. Originally known as Armistice Day, November 11th became the date each year for us as a country to remember and honor the over 116,000 American lives that were lost in that one terrible conflict. Following World War II, our annual remembrance was expanded to honor all who served, and November 11th became known as Veterans Day. Today, we continue to pause on this occasion and pay tribute to all of our nation's veterans who have proudly served on behalf of the United States of America. Our veterans and their families, those who returned home, those who are still missing, and those who made the ultimate sacrifice, represent the very best of what this country has to offer. And I am deeply thankful for their selfless service. Throughout our history, we have faced threats to our safety and security, and at every turn, there have been brave men and women willing to step forward in defense of our nation. We owe them our debt and our gratitude. But actions must meet our words. And this year, we have seen some cases where that promise was unfulfilled. Unemployment, homelessness, and a lack of access to health care should not be among the challenges our veterans face. While I was proud to support bipartisan legislation this summer that enabled reform at the Department of Veterans Affairs, I recognize that more needs to be done. We must fight for our veterans as they fought for each and every one of us. In Maine, over 10% of our citizens have served in the armed forces, one of the highest percentages in the country. This fact should instill tremendous pride and a sense of responsibility in every one of us. As we recognize our veterans today, together we must ensure that their service continues to be honored into the future. Sincerely, Angus.
Please don't tell the senator that I gave away some of those facts at the beginning of the speech. The next person is the person that we chose for a couple of reasons. One is we wanted to have a woman veteran come speak. And we wanted to have a younger woman veteran that could tell us more, or give us, the understanding of what's going on today and not what was going on in World War II or Korea or Vietnam, but our younger veterans. We wanted someone to represent them. So we asked Christina Stanley to be our guest speaker. She likes to be called Chris. And she wouldn't give me the bio because it's longer than her speech. So I hope that you would take the time to listen to a very intelligent individual who is also a chaplain of the American Legion, Post 19 here in Sanford, Chris Stanley.
Good morning. Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay? My name is Chris, as Jim said, and he didn't mention that I'm married and that my husband and I actually have 7 children. And the 7 children all have separate fathers. That's because they're all cats. We have 7 cats. So if you don't believe miracles happen, I was over the age of 30, had 7 cats, and still got married. This place looks so awesome, Dale. You guys did such a nice job decorating. Could we give the Sanford Memorial Veterans Committee a round of applause? Are you guys all pretty comfortable up there in the audience in the back? You're not going to fall asleep or anything? Okay. So when I was approached to deliver this presentation on Veterans Day, I was so honored and humbled. Who am I anyway? I'm just a girl from Portland who's in the Air National Guard who's studying to be a chaplain. I began looking up information to have a better handle on how to relate to you, but I didn't feel closer to the answer but further from it instead. Can I just say, wow, the things that some of your eyes in this room have seen is beyond my imagination. The things that are in your minds, God bless you and peace to you for what it is that you carry. And thank you for letting me be a part of your story. Can I have everybody who has been in the military and served please stand up? We're gathered here today because we love you, your families, and people who know you that you might not see again, who might have been friends on deployments, but we love you and we care about you. So how can I convey my gratitude and heartfelt appreciation for what you did to ensure the safety of my parents, to make sure that they could have a problem child like me and my perfect sister Holly, who's sitting in the crowd? Well, since I came entirely late, I thought I'd do something a little bit different today on Veterans Day. A lot of veterans can't show you what they did when they deployed, but I want to try. I am the chaplain assistant in the Air National Guard. Typically, chaplain corps members individually mobilize from across the country to come to one location to serve together. When I was deployed to Kyrgyzstan, there was only one person that I knew who would only be there for about a month. My office was a guard mission, meaning that everyone was assigned to it from the Air National Guard. In my office, we had a short black chaplain and pastor named Major Payne. Seriously, Major Payne. He did our gospel services, and you could hear him rock the tents from a mile away. People would keep their heads in just to see what was going on in there. Our Catholic priest was a married man with children, and he played the folk guitar during his chapel services, with a dedication that you have never seen. He didn't believe in taking days off. Then there was a chaplain from California, who in his civilian life was a professional magician. I came to call him Chaplain Magic. He was assigned to me as my religious support team partner, though he didn't always enjoy it, since I embarrassed him by handing out stickers and candy to anyone who would take them. Since we were deployed to a transit base, thousands of troops from many nations came through every week. There were Poles and Georgians, Romanians, Australians, Americans, and Brits, to say the least. It was our duty to be available to these folks. Chaplain Magic and I were responsible for greeting and sending off troops as they came through. You can imagine the energy difference between those who knew that they were forward deploying and those who were going home. It was amazing. Any veteran can attest to the long and boring briefings that we've had to sit through. Well, I'm sorry to admit that I was totally a part of that. But Chaplain Magic and I did things a little bit different. We didn't just talk, we really liked team building activities to keep our boots awake. And so I thought today we would do a team building activity for Veterans Day. And at this point, I would like to ask for a couple of volunteers. A veteran and maybe a family member of a veteran. If you can raise your hand if you'd like to volunteer.
Yeah, the guy in the red shirt, baseball.
The guy, come on. Right. Okay. This young man here in the black t-shirt sitting on your own, come on down here. Okay, so what is your name? That's awesome. Where were you deployed to? You are deployed? Just that you moved to Japan. Well, thank you, Juan. The pasta. That's awesome. Thank you for your service. And what's your name over here, young man?
Aaron Miller.
Aaron Mellon. And which branch did you serve in?
Army.
You're in the Army. Awesome. Thank you very much. So Marine Corps and Army over here. I really love having the attention on these guys instead of me. And since we're down here, I'm going to have you guys get a little bit closer. What I need you to do is to sit on the floor right here in front of me, back to back. Okay, very cool, very cool. So the Army and the Marine Corps, you'll find oftentimes you're deployed with one another. You never know who you're going to end up with overseas. So what I need you guys to do is to go ahead and link arms. And then, without using your hands to touch the floor, I need you to stand up. Go ahead and give some support, guys. Thank you guys, that was awesome. Yeah, you guys are awesome. Yeah, that is what Veterans Day is all about. We lean into each other to support. There is no shame in reaching out for support. Sure, it can be embarrassing and unexpected, but you never know when you will need it. Thank you, families, for supporting our vets, and thank you, veterans, for doing what you were called to do. There is no apostrophe in the word Veterans Day, I came to find. That is because it is a plural possession, and it belongs to all of us. We all own it. In fact, there are many nations around the world right now celebrating this holiday just as we are. It's about coming home and remembering together pieces that we cannot and must not leave behind us. If you know a veteran in this room right now, raise your hand. And if you are a veteran, raise your hand. What I want you guys to do before I go on any longer is, if you can take just one moment to share a story with a person sitting next to you about a veteran that you love. Just take 1 minute, and then we'll go on. When I see you look up at me, then we'll start to continue again, okay? Looking around the room and seeing your faces is total joy. Alright. When I was in my late 20s, I had been a nursing student, a bartender, and a painter, but my life lacked some destination and ultimately meaning. I thought I was supposed to be a nurse, but as I watched my father dying and my mother in her heart troubles, I just didn't seem to finish my degree, which was really odd. One winter night, when my dad was in rehab recovering from surgery to amputate part of his foot, I realized that God was calling me to do something more with my life. My father was my best friend, and although he was in rehab, I had this profound sense that he was dying. And if I didn't change my life, then I was going to die in a situation I didn't want to be in. I promised God that night that I would listen to whatever it was that he wanted me to do in my life. Within a few months, I felt called to volunteer to join the Air National Guard. A fear and excitement filled me that I can't describe. Within the year, my father, Butch Stanley, had passed on June 5th, 2009. Since we were not raised in a religious home, I called our base chaplains not knowing who else to turn to, and they were there for me when I didn't know where else to go. Ironically, a year to the day, I was accepted to be a chaplain assistant in the same office with the men who helped me when my father had died. And since then, I've been pursuing a seminary degree to become a military chaplain. In the 6 years I've been in the service, I've served in the Honor Guard, been a state volunteer. I've worked with middle schoolers with the Common Drug Program, talking about healthy life choices, supported the Air Force JROTC program in Lewiston, and worked with the military youth program in our state. In 2011, I met the Silver Fox. Yes, that is how my husband introduced himself to me. And 4 days after we got married, I found out that I would be deploying for 6 months through the holidays. My husband was not necessarily happy, but I was pretty excited. Within 6 hours after I touched down in Kyrgyzstan, our chapel team had a fallen warrior ceremony to attend. A young Marine was being transported home with the only young man who had survived from the skirmish that had taken place somewhere. We didn't ask questions, we just made ourselves available. As part of the duties of the chapel team, it was our duty and privilege to acclimate the survivor to our base and make sure he had what he needed before flying home the next day. About 30 of us went over to the flight line and stood as still as stone eagles during the transfer from plane to plane. With the young survivor in our care, we got him a quiet meal and took him to building. His sweet and profound silence that night let me know that this was going to be a very special mission indeed. During Christmas away from home, a base is busy trying to forget how much they miss their families. As the volunteer coordinator for the chapel activities, I have a group of 40 volunteers working on activities to support the Christmas mission. We organize and practice Christmas carols twice a week after our duty to move Christmas caroling on Christmas Eve down in what we call Tent City. Other volunteers engaged in wrapping sweet messages of encouragement around candy canes. Still others helped us decorate the chapel and Amity Ministry Center, both of which were tents, with decorations that was really beautiful. I was able to watch a soldier and a Marine take part in decorating a Christmas tree in our chapel that holds no gift that makes Charlie Brown's Christmas tree look silly. On Christmas Eve, we had around 70 people crush themselves in our chapel tent. There were transients, government workers, and even the base commander showed up in a Santa Claus hat. Before departing, everyone grabbed candy that was distributed to state airmen and the soldiers and the Marines, and a Christmas caroling book that had been composed by volunteers. The night was freezing and it was a glare of ice. We huddled as we made our way to Tent City, singing Christmas carols and trying to keep warm. It was a gift to see the smiles and hear the voices raised as well. We finally ended up at peace returned back to the chapel, but the night before had offered him a very touching moment. While out, he had been thanking the young men and women who were out there for their sacrifice. A young man shared with him that on that night he was thinking of taking his life. He was going home to a divorced and a broken family, and at the time he really just did not care. The colonel encouraged him to talk to one of the base chaplains who was a Catholic priest since that was the denomination. After his conversation with the chaplain, he went back to the colonel and told him that he had rethought his previous decision. I don't know what happened to that young man, and I'm not sure if his life was as changed as the colonel's, but it was in taking time that changed everything. Now I would like to share with you a gift that was given to me. A large part of our effort was humanitarian to the local natives. Their community is devastated and broken in many ways, but they are very kind. Children in elementary schools use outdoor latrines with a series of holes in concrete floors and a structure with no walls or windows. In the winter, they walk through a foot or more of snow to get there. On a school visit, some children wanted to play volleyball with us, and the ball that they had was as hard as a brick, and it left bruises on my wrist. Still, we played because they wanted to give to us. We visited orphanages and even a deaf school, where the children conveyed their appreciation to us for the new pillows that we had bought them, and a song of sign language, and they raised up their beautiful deaf voices. If you have never heard a deaf person speak, it is a beautiful thing to witness. Driving into town, watching the boats on the side of the road and children sitting on the cabbage trucks was the norm. The young women are so beautiful, as are the men, but none seem to be married. And so I asked my interpreter, who was a native, why this was, and she said it was due to their poverty. The men couldn't support the women, and they are of a very traditional culture there, and proud. So what you have is a bunch of beautiful young people with a limited hope of creating a family of their own. The program that became the most dear to my heart was working with the local elderly, the babushka, which is grandmother in Russian or Turkey. And although we had 4 grannies to spend time with, I had a very special relationship with a lady named Nadirja. She taught me many things. She would get angry with me when I did not wear my cross, since she was an Orthodox Christian herself. She would tell me to stop making funny faces because I was too pretty to do so. When she hugged the boys that went on visits with us, she would squeeze their hips and make them squirm and giggle, which is pretty funny in itself. She would stand up and give us the gift of her song during meals, and she would do the universal sign of the cross when she was ready to pray before we ate. She also brought us homemade socks and hats, and even homemade wine on one occasion, but that's another story that I won't get into now. The last week I was in Kyrgyzstan, the chaplain hosted a prayer breakfast and got a special permission from security for Nadirja to be on base. It was in the spring, and she brought me daffodils from her garden. I still have them pressed in the book at home. I placed them on the podium, and every person who went up to speak saw her flowers and was complimented by whatever it was that they said. We held hands all through the prayer breakfast, and I knew that it would be the last time I would see her, deep inside, but I did not want to face it yet. As the event was ending and we were about to part, she hugged me and asked me to take her home with me. I told her I was taking her home in my heart, and that I would see her in heaven. I love her so very much. The night before I redeployed, we had a base talent show. It was the second one I was able to host while deployed. The first night landing was that young fellow escorting his friend in the fall warrior ceremony. I knew my time was dedicated to making their time there better. I also knew that there was talent on our base because I saw it in the loving hearts of our volunteers at the chapel. I knew that there had to be other talent on base as well, but they just had to be given the invitation because, quite frankly, people, you don't know how talented and amazing you are. The first talent show had 17 participants. The second one had 23. I watched a worship band transform into a rock band called 2 Drink Limit in honor of our 2 Drink Limit at Pete's Place. A female karaoke singer took on lead vocals of Journey. It turns out that one of our majors was also a professional comedian, and Chapel Magic did tricks. A young nurse with her guitar could both rap and dance, and a guy over in flight operations sang Dean Martin. A dentist, a fuels guy, and an interpreter ended up singing a hymn together. As for me, I sang Islands in the Stream with a flight doc. There was a full-bird colonel who put on her traditional Hawaiian garb and performed the hula dance. She blew everyone away with her grace and beauty. And there was even a young man who 5 minutes before he was getting on a plane to redeploy to the States, stopped and wrote and read a poem that he had written about his brother who had died back home in a traffic accident while he himself was deployed. Maine has a kids camp for military children. It's a really magical place where children of military families come together for a week of their life and bond with children like them. Oftentimes, the parents or parents of the child have been deployed. Friendships are fortified by no other. Late night laughter and tears bind them to one another in compassion. The last night of camp, we stand around a campfire and sing a very special song. I'm proud to be an American. Today is Armistice Day, also known as Veterans Day. It is also the 100th anniversary to the outbreak of World War I. In response to World War I, an American Jew named Irving Berlin wrote a very special song, popularized by Kate Smith in the late 1930s. We know that song today as God Bless America. I am hoping that in just a moment, when I hand out some of the papers that I have that have the song written on it, I can have some of the people come down here with me and stand up in the audience also as we all sing God Bless America together. Do I have anybody who's going to come down here with me? All right, I know I can't sing, so I'm hoping you guys can carry this.
I want to thank Christina very much and, for several things. One thing that I'd really like to thank her for. How many people know about the veterans home that we're building in Kennybunk through Habitats for Humanity? Okay, so Chris has volunteered to be at the office 2 days a week, and she is coordinating all of the volunteers that are helping out at that house. And if you get in touch with your organization, because we have a steering committee here in Sanford, get in touch with your organization and find out when you can come down. There's a nice t-shirt that they give you. And boy, would I love to see a lot of people in Sanford walking around wearing that t-shirt this summer. And the director of the York County Habitat for Humanity Steve Bolton is over here in the audience today. I would like to invite the company commander, Cadet Jackie Murray, to come forward and explain what the folds of the flag stand for. And I believe she might be able to report on the results of their drill.
Okay. Can you hear me? Good. Before we get into the flag holding, our drill team, we go to about 4 meets a year. One meet in Maine at our school, Massachusetts High School, 3 in Massachusetts, 3 or 4 in Massachusetts. Our last one was November 1st at North High School in Worcester, Mass. We came second in, I believe, academics, and second in inspection and third in academics. We are going to another meet November 22nd, and hopefully we'll get more, come back with more awards. In the Armed Forces of the United States, at the ceremony of retreat, the flag is lowered, folded into a triangle fold, and kept under watch throughout the night as a tribute to our nation's honored dead. The next morning, it is brought out, and at the ceremony of reveille, hung aloft as a symbol of our belief in the resurrection of the body. The first fold of our flag is a symbol of life. The second fold is a symbol of our belief in eternal life. The third fold is made in honor and remembrance of a veteran departing our ranks who gave a portion of life for the defense of our country to attain a peace throughout the world. The fourth fold represents our weaker nature, for as American citizens trusting in God, it is to Him we turn in times of peace as well as in times of war for His divine guidance. The fifth fold is a tribute to our country, for in the words of Stephen Decatur, our country, in dealing with other countries, may she always be right, but it is still our country, right or wrong. The sixth fold is for where our hearts lie. It is with our heart that we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The seventh fold, as is tribute to our armed forces, for it is through the armed forces that we protect our country and our flag against all her enemies, whether they be found within or without the boundaries of our republic. The eighth fold is a tribute to the one who entered into the valley of the shadow of death, that we might see in the light of day, and to honor Mother, whom it flies on Mother's Day. The ninth fold is a tribute to womanhood, for it has been through their faith, love, loyalty, and devotion that the character of men and women who have made this country great has been molded. The tenth fold is a tribute to Father, for He too has given His sons and daughters for the defense of our country since they were first born. The 11th fold, in the eyes of a Hebrew citizen, represents the lower portion of the seal of King David and King Solomon, and glorifies in their eyes the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The 12th fold, in the eyes of a Christian citizen, represents an emblem of paternity and glorifies in their eyes God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. When the flag is completely folded, the stars are uppermost, reminding us of our national motto, "In God We Trust." After the flag is completely folded and tucked in, it takes on the appearance of a cocked hat, ever reminding us of the soldiers who served under General George Washington and the preserving for us the rights, privileges, and freedoms we enjoy today.
I wanted to just explain a couple of things here today. We can call them decorations, but I don't know that you'd call it a decoration. This is our fallen warrior memorial. And this is presented, I believe, by the BTA. Rolling Thunder. Did you guys bring that? Rolling Thunder? The chair? Okay. But this is for the warriors. His boots are there, his rifle's upside down, his dog tag is on his rifle, and his helmet is on the top of it. And that's just to remember about those that we lost in our conflict. The chair over here, presented to us by Rolling Thunder, is a brand new POWMIA chair, which you can buy for $100. And they're putting these in prominent veterans places. And they just had one placed in South Portland at the Southern Maine Community College. Leon. Where's Leon? Oh, yeah, Leon had to get to a free lunch. And it was placed in a room that's dedicated to Leon for being a POW from World War II. Right near the doors here, all the way around, you see all of these decorations, all up in the back, and this back on the left-hand side, you can see them, but right here behind me, you can see. That's from the Margaret Chase Smith School, first grade. And these are created by the Margaret Chase Smith School, and they're presented to us when they do their Veterans Day ceremony. And with all due respect, we want to put them up so that the students' hard work can be seen by our veterans. In the band, when he was here in Sanford High School. And the thing is that we were very busy with a lot of things going on, and he made sure he took the time to call us because he hadn't heard from us. But I thank the support of him and of the band in all the things that we do. Now, there has been a little bit of talk, and everybody has to think about, would you prefer to be here today, or would you prefer to be outside watching a parade? That's something you need to think about. And talk to the people who, the mayor, talk to the people on the city council, and let them know what you think. Because it's been talked about, but we need to make sure, if we're going to do that, that it's what the people want to do. It's a beautiful day out there today. I mean, everybody loves it. Some days we freeze. So, please, let us know, and let the city know what you prefer to do, so that we make changes that you like. And that's another question I have. How do you like the change to be made, having people here that you can see, instead of having to turn your neck all the time to watch around? I think we just have a motion in a second to do that from now on. Thank you very much. The announcements that I'd like to make is there is a ceremony outside, which will be the laying of the last wreath, because this is the World War II memorial that they're in now, the Memorial Gymnasium from Sanford. And then the participants are welcome to go to the end. That's at 12:30 for a luncheon. And we'd like to ask our chaplain, Robert Seeker, to come back for the closing prayer.
All
front cover.
May the Spirit of God lead us to bring us to our nation. We thank all our veterans and their veterans families for their service. We ask God to protect our American states as they serve God in our city. May the peace of God be with you all in the cities.
And I'd like to ask the Naval Junior RPC Color Guard captain, have the color guard retire the colors.